1, 2, so okay.
Okay, so we need to talk fast.
All right, and I've got to turn off some music.
Yeah, and if you could kind of, because I'm just a beginner at this personally, where I would even go to launch 360, is that what you're going to show us, really sort of a step-by-step how to get in there and do that?
I wish it could be really detailed, Tracy, but it's I'm going to give you some information.
Okay.
Matter of fact, darn, I did actually forget to put that in here. All right. Sandy, at some point, maybe you can go to the Quick Start Guide via, what's that tool called, CourseArc, and get the link to the recorded lectures.
Okay. Yep.
You know? Okay. So welcome, good morning, and we really appreciate that there is excitement and interest in this category. This is a first for us to do this training, so you guys are all guinea pigs, sorry. But know that we do things rather informally, and if you have any questions along the way or comments, please do provide them. You have the ability to chat. We'll be monitoring that chat as much as we can, but we do have a lot of information to get through, and we'll try to do this as quickly as possible.
I hear anything.
So the concept, and let me just, if you don't mind, make sure that we have your full names, and if it's not in the participant list as a full name, just go ahead in the chat and give us your full name in there and what discipline or what office you may be involved in. Thank you very much. Okay, so first off, I'd like to say or ask, how you doing, huh? How's everybody doing? It's the first week of classes,
Things are going well. Yeah.
Tracy says, yeah, thumbs up.
Kids are all pumped up. We're excited. Zoom's working great.
Good. Well, for the most part, I agree.
Yeah.
Anybody else chiming in? Let's see, Justin's.
Hey Joe, it's Christine Bame. I want to know how you doing.
Let's skip to the next question.
Okay.
Well, we enjoy doing these, so at least
I'm sure.
reprieve from the real difficulties of the day. Of course, we had to spend time putting this together and everything. And that,
Speaker working.
what does Karen have to say? Anything?
I think she was trying out her speaker.
Okay.
I think your speaker is working, Karen, if you just said something.
Okay.
Oh,
well,
she can't hear. She can't hear.
Okay. I always suggest to people who can't hear, maybe you put this in the chat for us, Sandy, that she try just leaving the room and coming back in.
Okay.
Here's the Zoom to come back. So, all right, real quick joke before we get started to lighten the air. What do you call when you mix a priest with a lawyer? You can pull up your microphone if you think you have the answer, or type it in chat, or make a very sophisticated guess, something about holy whatever. Karen, do you have something to say?
No. I just figured out.
Oh, we can hear you now. Okay.
Wait, Ann knows. Ann knows. Okay. Does anybody else know? We'll let Ann say the answer.
I know, but I won't tell you.
Okay, go ahead, Ann. Tell us what you do. What do you get when you mix a priest with a lawyer?
It's a father-in-law.
So good, so good. Okay. Thank you, Ann. All right. So we're here to talk about captioning great content. And I've subtitled this, the Give the Gift of Your Video to Students. We have had sessions throughout the summer and most recently as well on things you can do to actually virtualize your classroom. And those are tools that are primarily implemented for live synchronous trainings / classes / whatever you want to do, obviously. And we're doing one now, aren't we, right? So technically, I want to say at the start, you may see the Padlet in front of you. And if anybody hasn't seen a Padlet, it's really just a wall of posts that you can create. You can create a free account at padlet.com and create your own. We started using this recently, and I kind of like it in place of just doing like a PowerPoint deck or whatever, because you can see all the information mostly all at once. Depends on how much you put on there, and you have to scroll a little bit, but you can pop out all the posts and show things as you go through. But that said, you'll see in the left-hand panel that we've got some tools that we're going to talk about. And primarily those tools are Echo 360, Camtasia, and Screen-Cast-O-Matic. And you can see 3 columns for each of those tools as well. But what don't you see here that is available in every Blackboard course? First quiz. Nobody? Again, it's not necessarily a video creation tool at first glance.
Right.
Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. So you don't have to have students when you have a Collaborate Ultra session. You can start your own session and record it, and you're recording your desktop. So you're doing a Screen-Cast-O-Matic, or a screen share, as we call these things. You can obviously have your video on too, your camera with Collaborate, and the camera doesn't have to be trained on your beautiful face. It can be trained on something else. If you work in biology, Jackie Speaker, you can train it on a model of some anatomy, okay? So Blackboard Collaborate's right there for you as well. We're not talking about that one because we don't normally go to that at first glance as a recording or a video capture tool, but it has that ability. And guess what we're doing? Sandy, are we actually recording? Oh, yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
This Zoom session. So you could do a session in Zoom without students and record content if you want to, all right? So those are there's a lot of things out there that will do this for you. Some of them are free, some of them have a degree of cost, but we're here primarily to talk to you today about the idea of creating your own videos. And not to say that using content that's out there that has been vetted by you and by others, and it's good for your topical discipline, then certainly use it as well. But there's something about your video that adds a lot to your students' understanding, to their feeling about you in terms of, what are you bringing to the game here in this COVID environment, rather than just using resources that, of course, they could find themselves. So the element of you, and of course, many of you are doing blended or doing synchronous sessions and you're doing live, that's obviously good too. But the element of you recorded is also very special, and we want you to be aware of that. Okay, so Sandy, if you don't mind, just can you open up a little bit more and make the video capture technologies post larger?
I certainly can. And the
Thank
other
you very
link
much.
is under the Echo right now. So
What's under the Echo? I'm sorry.
I put the link from the quick
okay,
start.
good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Here we
Into
go.
the Padlet, is that where you put it?
Yep. I put it right on Echo. Yep.
Very good. Okay, so you could see that we just quickly and succinctly, and we have a number of these sheets for various categories of tools, ed tech tools, and this one is for video. And we just picked 3 possibilities to compare and contrast. And so we're looking at Echo 360, first one on the left, Camtasia in the middle, and Screen-Cast-O-Matic on the right. So briefly, let's just talk about the differences that we are dealing with here. First of all, Echo 360 is the one thing of these 3 that you have at your disposal because it's an institutional tool that we purchase, right? You don't have to pay for it. You can use it. It is something that can be synchronized with your Blackboard courses. It's not as well embedded as Blackboard Collaborate, but you go through a few steps to embed it into your Blackboard sections, and voila, your students will be able to see all the videos that you create in your Echo library, because you get your own platform with a login and everything, and you put all those videos in your Echo library, and then you share them to your courses, and your students can view them from a link that you're going to create in your Blackboard sections, okay? The great thing about Echo 360, and we'll see it briefly, is that it has many value-added features for both your student while they're watching and for you before, during, and afterwards. Echo 360 does also have a live webcasting feature as well, but we think it's best used as just a simple, let's do video recording and have our students have access to it 24/7, okay? So speaking of 24/7, this is obviously and I think has become very obvious in the last 120 days, but video is the panacea for your students, especially under the circumstances that we're in, and can review materials as often as they like, whenever they like, and in most cases, wherever they like. When you're creating some of this content and the formats that it will be distributed in, they're pretty easy to view on just about any device, even my 2013 cell phone. So Echo is, again, a cloud-based system, and you would actually install a recorder tool on your computer, Mac or PC, and you can actually create content using that Echo 360 recorder, which makes it easy to ingest into your library on the Echo 360 platform. You can also take any video at all that you may have already created and put it up into Echo 360 to achieve the feature advantages that I indicated earlier. Your students will have better viewing of the video and things that they can do during the video, and you will have analytics and other things on the backside. So that's the way you would get your video into Echo. Now, one thing Echo isn't is a robust editing tool for video. All right, so it does have some very light, L-I-T-E video editing capabilities, but keep in mind, you're not going to make a really pretty published video with Echo 360, okay? But you will do that with Camtasia. Camtasia is, as you can see, a screen recorder and video editing software, and it is something that you would have to purchase or get a purchase through the college. You could see that you can do a 30-day free trial. Licenses are anywhere from about $170 to $250, depending upon who you are and things like that. But generally speaking, I think most of us in education can probably get one for $170. But the beauty of Camtasia is that it has a number of different capabilities and embellishments, I like to call them, where you can do things to the video that you create with the tool or without the tool. I'm saying create the video, that is, that really can spotlight what you really want your students to see. You know, you can embed questions into it, which you can do in Echo 360 as well. And you can do call outs and transitions and so many more effects, which again, if it's something that you're after and is important because of the way you need to show your content, then this tool is for you. People who are in the visual arts discipline might really appreciate this tool because it can show your students that you might be teaching some of these types of things too, and you're using them and modeling them during the videos that you're creating. There's other tools too, like on the Adobe side, is something very similar to TechSmith Camtasia. And then last but not least, Screen-Cast-O-Matic was picked as a tool that you could access. You could have a personal account, and it's totally web-based. There really isn't anything to install. I think it does put like a small little capturing tool on your computer, but it works with both PC and Mac, and you do everything basically from your web account. It's a real quick hit for screen sharing, basically. You do have some video capabilities, but very, very little editing capabilities. And it's meant to actually just do a quick overview. Like for instance, let's just say you want to show your students a 5-minute video of how to access a particular area of your Blackboard course. Well, you can call up Screen-Cast-O-Matic, click record, and it'll record the space on your computer that you're trying to highlight. And you could run through your Blackboard course and do all your clicks, and it's going to obviously pick all that up. And in quick order, you're going to show your students how to get exactly to an assignment and what you want them to do with that assignment in your Blackboard course. Boom, you're done. It's going to be housed on Screen-Cast-O-Matic's site, all right? And it'll give you a URL that you would just share with your students. Now, obviously, things that are out on the web like this are relatively are less secure. They may be open to the public a little bit more, and you know, you don't have quite as much control over that content as you would if you used a tool like Echo 360, which is going to be reposed in our platform of Echo 360 and in your specific library as Karen Virus, for instance. Okay, so those are the differences. And if you scroll down a little bit, Sandy, you can see that we've given columnar feature related, you know, this does that, this doesn't do that. So if you wanted to see a comparison very briefly, you could look at this chart, and you have access to this in the Padlet. We'll give you the link to the Padlet in the chat. All right.
Put it in there already, Joe. It is in there. I'll put it in again.
All right. So these are just some of the features. They're not all the features by any stretch of the imagination of any one of these tools. It would be more than one sheet, and we couldn't call it a one sheet then if we tried to list all the features that were available across these tools. Any questions so far about your thoughts about these three tools and the differences, and maybe a little feedback here based on what I've said so far? Which one seems like you want to know more about it? Give you a moment to either put it in the chat or bring up an audio. Go ahead.
I'd say 360 because it's directly linked to Blackboard.
Okay.
For me, I
Thank
think
you.
it's nicely transitional. Because I've heard the concern of size of files when you go to
Right.
embed or link. Does 360 automatically optimize them so that
It
there's
does.
okay?
Yes, it's a pretty good player operational bandwidth, what do we call that, responsive tool. And yes, the videos that are processed come in various formats, but the primary one that the students would access is auto-optimized, but you can have access to an HD file, MP4, an SD file, MP4, a podcast audio file, and one other I can't remember. You also have ASR, which is automatic speech recognition, transcript capability, and there is closed captioning capability. Some of that comes with a cost, but we can help you if you need those resources. Okay. Thank
Joe,
you.
you're probably going to cover this, but Jackie wrote that Echo 360 is not listed in my mashup link for Blackboard.
That there's a little situation that we have with that will come back very shortly. I've been working on that for a couple of days. We're trying to work on a new feature that Echo 360 has that allows interactive media. So you could take a video, and at 2 minutes into the video, you could throw in a poll question or some type of activity question, and it stops the video. The students have to respond to the question, and then after they respond, the video continues. So that's a very new feature inside of Echo 360, and we had to make some configuration changes on our backside in order to make that work, and we'll have everything up and running shortly. I was going to get that done this morning, but guess what got in the way?
Another
Anything else?
question.
Yep.
Is it Taya or Tanya? I guess it's Taya. She prefers access to a reasonably priced video editing software. How do we get an NCC discount? So
Tahea.
Tahaya, what a nice name.
Thank you.
So Tahea, and to everyone else, we don't have any special,
Tahaya.
but and even the type of software with Adobe, we have Adobe CS educational contract, but the video creation tools I don't think are actually in that contract that we have. So those that have the Adobe tools such as Captivate, there is a cost for that as well. So either way, there's going to be some cost. I can tell you there is a tool that I have used, and I have to look at it for a second here. I think it's on this. Okay, so it's part of the NH, no, that's not the one I want. I think it's called VideoPad. So if you Google VideoPad, Taya, it's part of a suite that the company is called NCH, I believe. And it's free, believe it or not. They want you to buy it, of course, and they're going to keep hounding you to buy it. But I've used it, and it's not full blown by any stretch of the imagination like Camtasia is, but you can give that a try. It's called VideoPad Video Editor. Okay. All right. Any other
Thank you.
you want to make?
Nope.
Okay. So let's close this one, Sandy.
All right.
Open up the tips for creating your content. And we're going to go through this really quick. You have to scroll down a little bit right there. Where the
This?
Yes. So this is meant to be a little bit of a guide for you. We stole it from Vanderbilt. We think it's important that you think about your educational videos and what you need to put into it and some parameters that are best practices, if you will. But before I get into this, I want to stress that these are things you need to be thinking about, but I don't want you to worry about trying to employ them and understanding them fully before you start to do this. It's not as important, especially in today's world, than you getting the videos done and being yourself when you're on camera and showing your students that you're putting yourself out there, you're creating something. It doesn't look professional and it's not digressed. And just like this particular session that we're running, we may learn a lot through the session and tweak it for the next one. But, you know, we're throwing it out there. Sandy and I are doing this one for the first time, so hopefully it comes across really well. I want to say that to you too. Don't keep from understanding this information in this post from having you start to do videos. Just get at it and be yourself. Show your students how authentic you are, and they're going to love you, okay? But a few things you want to know, and you can just keep scrolling a little bit, Sandy, slowly. This is about cognitive load. So just like you're concerned about the content you're putting in your courses and how much your students can ingest in any period of time, you have to think about that in the space of your video too, right? That's all I'm going to say. You can read this on your own time. Keep going, Sandy. There's a whole bunch of stuff about cognitive load in theory here, and some of you may know about this, some of you may not, but you can read it at your own pace. And here's a couple of things that they want you to be aware of: signaling, segmenting, weeding, matching modalities. But go through all that, Sandy, and go to the next main section. Sorry for rushing this, but remember that we're trying to do engaging our students with these videos. So hopefully I'm doing that a little bit with you. I know that sometimes I use my hands too much because I'm Italian, I'm sorry. But it's, it's good for you to, you know, moderate your voice a little bit, you know, show different things. You know, we're showing our video, we're showing the Padlet, we're showing other things, and we're going to give you a demonstration. And take time to ask questions, okay? Have a conversational style. It's right there. Speak quickly and with enthusiasm. I don't know how enthusiastic I sound, I have to tell you. I ought to listen to myself a little bit more. And that's a good thing for you to do. When you create a video, listen to it, watch it, and you'll get better at it with each one. Please don't try to make multiple takes. You know, the first one is practice. The second one should be good enough as long as it gives the point of what you want your students to know. Move on. The next time you do a video, it'll be better, okay? Active learning is a big part of what you should try to do with your videos. And Echo 360 is what we call an active learning platform. I just mentioned that you could put interactive questions into your video. So that's what we call active learning. It's really great. And you're going to see the results of those videos on the backside of Echo 360, Tracy. Okay, anything else in this? Keep going, Sandy.
Let's see.
Okay, we didn't say anything about size. And I'm not talking about what Tracy mentioned, is that these files are large. So you have to keep that into consideration. Not only are they large, but when they're high quality, when they're distributed, as I think that was Tracy that mentioned it, it's possible that depending upon where they're being distributed from, that the bandwidth that they use is making it difficult for your students to watch them without them breaking up a little bit or whatever, or buffering or something like that. So always be aware that unless quality really matters, that we're trying to record videos at a basic definition. Now, you don't have the ability to control that in something like Echo 360, but in Camtasia, you do. You can record at whatever, or actually produce the video at whatever size and level you want. When you make a little bit of a smaller video, it's going to require less bandwidth as it's being streamed from wherever it's stored or housed. All right, I hope that makes sense. So getting back to an actual video itself, there's a lot of information out there from studies and research that says videos should not be long. You'll find varying things about the actual time frame, but I'm going to tell you that some people are obviously creating a video of a lecture. That could be 50 minutes or 100, I mean, not 100, an hour and 15 minutes, right? Is that okay? Sure, if it really is something you want your students to be able to review. However, what I would suggest, even if you're recording it while you're live with your students, is to chunk it. You know, do your recording for the first 15 minutes or a particular topic, stop the recording, and then start the recording again and do the next chunk. So we use this term chunking sometimes. And if you're just making a quick hit topical video, hey, 5 to 7 minutes is really pristine, okay? So just keep that in mind when you're making your video. The longer, the less engaging it may be, knowing that sometimes you do have to do those full videos. And it's a little bit better, obviously, today. All students have the ability to pause and walk away and come back and whatnot. But I think we know, and we can see this through our heat maps when we look at Echo 360, we get a lot of students, you know, there's a curve, basically. We get a lot of students that watch the first part, and then you get to 5 minutes, and then you get to 6 minutes, and then you get to 8 minutes, and it starts going down. So, you know, your students' interest does wane after 5 minutes, or definitely after 10 minutes. Keep that in mind. All right. Anybody want a question or a comment about that before we move on? So iMovie not available to me. Right. You don't have to use iMovie. Okay. But for those that are on Macs, iMovie would be a perfect tool. Thank you for bringing that up, Justin. Okay. Yep. Let's get back to the Padlet. Okay, thanks. So let's start talking about Echo 360, all right? And let me just say, because I don't think we're gonna get to it, you can look at, I don't think I have, do I have the video here? Can you click on Learning Glass real quick? Sam? Learning Glass, all the way to the right.
To the right. Oh,
Yeah.
here.
No, but do I have the link to it there? Click.
Oh,
there-
here we go.
there it is.
Here we
Okay.
go. The
So
quick
on your
video
time, you
is that
can
what
learn
you-
a little bit about Learning Glass. It happens to be right behind me because I'm in the CTLT, and that room back there is actually our studio that houses the Learning Glass. So you can learn about that there. And then last, if you scroll up on that particular column, Sandy, you'll see that I've made mention about a studio that we have at the main campus.
Let's see, did I miss it?
There you
Main
go.
campus,
Right
there you
there.
go.
All right. I just want, because we're not going to have time. I know we're going to run out of time, and I won't have a chance to talk about that. So I'm just saying it quickly. So let's go back to Echo 360. So if we open up the full post on Echo 360, just scroll. No. Okay. I didn't want you to go to the link.
Oh, you don't want that?
No, I just want to see everything that's there. So
That's it.
It's scrolled.
Oh.
No, it's not. There you go. It's scrolled up. Yeah. So as I mentioned, you can do actual live streaming lectures if you want to with Echo 360, but we think that the recording tool is primo, and that's what you should be using it for. And for whatever reasons, if you cannot use Echo 360, their recording tool, which is called Universal Capture, UCAP by short, you certainly can upload any video that you create with anything. So here's a good example of times when you're not going to use UCAP because it's something you have to install on your iPhone, not on your iPhone, but on your Mac computer or your PC. So let's just say you're out, you do a sustainability course and you're out in the field and you want to show a live outdoor scene and you have your cell phone camera. You know, you can obviously do that video out there outdoors, and you can upload, or what we call ingest it, into Echo 360 and then make it available to your students through Blackboard. Okay, so we want you to be aware of that. So for your own, on your own time, we want you to click that link, Echo 360 platform, and learn a little bit about it there. Okay, and the information, scroll down, Sandy, did you put that recorded lectures?
I did. This is from the
So this
Quick
is
Start
really
Guide.
good. Let's open it up so they see it, all right?
Okay.
This is really good information about how you get started with Echo 360, all right?
I'm going to put
Notice
this
that
link.
this is a very large tool for learning how to do online stuff. As you can see up at the top, it says online quick start, and it's got a bunch of things in it. So you may find this resource good for you over and above what we're talking about. But over on the left, you see recorded lectures in the menu that's highlighted, or it's in dark blue. And that's the section of the course that we're on. And we're seeing some tabs up at the top. And right now we're looking at the Echo 360 overview tab. And yeah, we would love for you to watch this video and learn about the universal capture tool down below this video, right there, okay? But to learn how to incorporate this with your Blackboard course, scroll up and scroll up and click on setting up your Echo 360 account. I see you smiling. Wait, I just got to say, I was working with somebody yesterday, a faculty person, and we were doing a Zoom, and I was giving her directions because she was sharing her screen, and I was telling her to go over to the right side of the Google Chrome browser. And every time I told her to go to the right, she was going to the left. Like, no, the other right, I kept saying to her. All right, so this particular tab shows you the steps that you need to go through to synchronize. Echo 360 uses the term provision your Blackboard course to an Echo 360 course that you are going to create. You create one Echo 360 course for each Blackboard section. Any of you work with a publisher learning tool like McGraw-Hill Connect, Pearson Mind Math Lab, My Arts Lab, Tracy, I don't know, any of you? If you do, typically that's how that works. You can pair your Blackboard course with the material that's over in Pearson, for instance, and your students can access that material in Pearson through your Blackboard course. This is the same concept, and these are the steps that you need to follow to do that. If you have any question or problem, feel free to reach out to Sandy or I, and we'll help you with this. There's also a little video about that here. We've seen that it may not always play here, so there is a little button at the bottom. There's a link at the bottom which says click here, and it'll play for you in the browser. Go all the way to the right, Sandy. It says open in a new window by clicking.
Do you want to play it?
No, I don't want to go
Okay.
there. I just want them
It's
to know
over
about it.
here. Yeah.
This is going to be for your reference, so this is how you're going to do it. Sandy, I'm going to take control, and I'm
Go
going to
right ahead.
how this
Yep.
displays in a Blackboard course. Okay, here we go.
Yep.
All right, you have to stop sharing apparently for some reason. I'm not sure why I can't bop you off like I usually do. All right. Okay, so obviously you don't want to see my Zoom, and there's the Padlet again, but I'm gonna get rid of that. Where is my course? All right, this is a course in Blackboard. We use it as a training course. It's Sandy's demo. And what we do is we go to learning content, and in those 16 steps that we just showed you, one of those steps would be come here and click this Echo 360 LC tool. And guess what that's going to create? It's going to create one of these. Okay. So once it's created, you would click on this and it's going to ask you to create your Echo 360 course. Again, that's in the instructions. Once your Echo 360 course is created, you've completed the process. Now, when you click or your students click on this link again, voila, it's going to take them over into the Echo 360 environment. So our course in Echo 360 in this case is just called SH Demo 2. It's similar to the Blackboard course, what we call the Blackboard course. And we've actually put some, we're using the term classes because that's what Echo goes by. These are classes, and each class has content in it. You can see over here on the right-hand side. So this green button indicates a video. This green square, or looks like a video screen or a monitor, indicates a presentation or an uploaded PDF. Now, If you want to add a video from your library, which you see you have access to, and again, this library is in echo360.org. You'll find information about that in the quick start guide that we just showed you a little while ago. You have access to your library, which is where all your videos will go, whether you upload them or you create them with your universal capture tool. You have courses that you will create or have created, and you can have groups. And you can even use this create button up here to actually start the create process or upload media. And upload media means if you did the video on your camera, your phone, of course you have to get that video to your computer so that you could upload it here. But again, if you need help with that, we can help you. And then once you do that, you can share it to any one of your courses, this right here being a course, okay? And notice that this tells you right here, I'm sorry, hang on, that we're actually linked to the LMS because we could unlink it. So what we're clicking on that button in our Blackboard course and it's bringing us to this Echo course. So let's see what your students would do. They would come over here to the play button and they would click on it and they would view the recording. And voila, they're watching it. They hit the play button down here. Notice that they have tools where they can go in reverse by 10 seconds. They can go forward by 10 seconds. All right, over on the right here, you see a heat map of the video views. They can change the sound and the sources and a bunch of other things too. They can control the speed, which is really nice, okay? Now, over on the right here, you see I've actually done an activity slide or a poll. Right? It's not embedded all the way because we still don't have that working, but if you put in any activity slides, this is where they would show up. And if you uploaded your PowerPoint, if you were doing like a narrated PowerPoint, you would see that up here in this section. So your students have total control when they're watching. If they want to make this big, they certainly can. If they want to make this big, they can. There's a lot of control features within the tool. But here's what I really want to show you. So they have the ability to have discussion about this video with the students and with you while they're watching it. They have the ability to raise a question and you can answer that question. They have the ability to flag confusing points within the video. And certainly through here too, you can see who's engaged in the class, whether it's live, that would be synchronous, or not live, asynchronous. And if you had a transcript associated with it, you'd have a button up here for the transcript. And of course, if it were captioned, you have CCs down at the bottom here that you could turn on and turn off. Really great tool that your students can work with the information on. One thing you don't see here is the notes situation because I'm not actually a student, but your students have access to add their own notes and create, if you will, a study guide for your course as they watch each of these videos. Indicate to themselves, you know, what parts they think are important and things that they may want to review later or review for the exam or whatever. And so that's a really good feature as well. So here's the value-added student stuff that is great by doing Echo 360 videos. And I apologize if this particular session is going to be more about Echo 360 than anything else, but we obviously believe, since it's our NCC institutional tool, that this is a great tool to use. All right, that said, let's get rid of that. I beg your pardon. Let's go back to this and make it big. All right, brings us back to where we were, and we can shift these. You can see that. And if we had other slides, we would move to them, but I don't have any other slides here by going left and right. All right, let's go back to our course by clicking the breadcrumb, and we'll click this Echo's link again, bring us back into our Echo course. And what I want you to see here are these tabs up at the top, all right? So by default, you're viewing classes, but if you want to see any questions that were asked in the videos, this is where you would see them, okay? And you could answer these questions too, or you could pose questions yourself. If you want to see any polls that you put in, here's the one that I did. You'll see the responses to the polls and the students that responded to them and how they responded. And if you want to get really great analytics, you're not going to see any here, but you can see the types of analytics that you get, whether or not those confusion flags were hit, if they had any questions, if they reviewed the slide deck, just the video views alone, all right? And any of the other things, you're going to see a graph in this space of the type of activity that occurred in the analytics view. And then down here in the bottom, you're going to see sort of like a spreadsheet of all these columns and the information, and then your students will be listed down here by each student. And you can look at it by student more discreetly. So you want to say student X, let's see how they're doing across the board with the 3 or 4 videos that I put into this course. And you can change how you weight the importance of the different things that you have in your videos. And that comes into what we call an engagement score. And you can see which students are more engaged and which students seem to be more confused. And indeed, you can even push this content, I should say this analytics, into the grade center in Blackboard, okay? We're not going to get into that. I want you to be sure you understand what's aware right here within the framework that we're in, okay? I'm going to pause and stop and see if there's any questions. Nothing?
Surely there must be some questions.
Yeah, you would think. All right. Well, unfortunately, we're giving them a lot of information to look at, so they may have more questions after they look at it. Okay, let me go back.
And we will probably be offering a level 1 session again.
I
Right,
think
Joe?
we're going to try to do that the last week of September.
Okay.
I'll be with our partners at Echo 360.
Right. So if you're seeing Echo for the first time today and you like what you see and you want to have a little more of a hands-on, we'll be having another session.
So last but not least, can you actually see my menu, Sandy?
I can see your menu. Yes.
Okay. So I have this tool already installed called Universal Capture. And when we bring it up, this is what you would use to actually create your video. Real simple. You can put some information up here in the capture details, like what it's called, but you can always edit this information when it's up in your library in Echo 360. All right. All videos will go to your library, but if you already have a course established, you can pick a particular course, right? And as we said, you can put it in a particular class once we pick the course. And as we said, you can actually live stream it if you want to. We're not going to do that. So we'll just cancel this, and you can see that usually the first thing that happens is your display will be previewed here on the left-hand panel, but you could select something else. All right, you can not show your display if you just want this to be a video of you or a video of this book, whatever you want to show. But typically we want to screen record something. Now, everybody always asks, but wait a minute, I'm seeing the recorder there. You should know that once you click this big red record button, the recorder is going to go out of the way. And whatever is on your desktop, and in this case, my course here, is going to be recorded. Right? Here is where you would actually select your audio, and you could see that that meter shows that I'm speaking, and it's also collecting that audio. But if you have more than one microphone, you could choose which one you want. And then last but not least, if you have a webcam, you can choose it, and you can see mine is chosen, but it's not showing up here because why? Because you see me in Zoom, right? Lots of times your software cannot use your camera in 2 pieces at the same time, 2 places at the same time. So you're not seeing my video here because Zoom is using my video camera. All right, and it's really that simple. You click record. And this is similar with any type of recording tool you use. You usually get a countdown, it goes away, and guess what? We're live. And if I look at my bar down here, you can see that it's running down in the launch bar, and you got a little red record button, right? So it's actually going to show everything I'm showing right now. I click on echoes, it's showing me go here, blah, 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 blah. And it's showing me too, okay, but that's not important. I want to show you the proper way to don a mask. You know, you put it around here. And then if you have glasses, you know, you put it under your glasses, and of course you're going to get that mist on your glasses, but you should know that you're eligible for workers' condensation if that happens to you. Yeah, I got one in there. All right. Okay, then we come down here and we're going to stop the recording. We can pause it and obviously start it again, but we're just going to stop it, and boom, it's going to upload into your Echo 360 library right now. Okay. And we'll just close that. All right, it's still working. Right? And in my library, I can get to it right here up in the top left of my course. There's other ways also. There's a lot of ways to work with Echo 360. But once it's within your course, that could be your primary way of working with Echo 360. So this is my library because I'm logged in, and you can see all the stuff that I did. But right here, my first one, or the last one rather, first one in the list, the last one I did, is processing. And it's right here. I didn't give it a title, but if I want to, I can go here and I can edit and change the title. I can edit my details, but I have to wait till it's done processing. And when it's done processing, it shows up like this, okay, or like this. You know, here's one of my videos. Here's one of my activity slides. Here's one that I tried to create interactively, but it's still not working yet because our platform isn't ready for that, okay? But, you know, all the videos you create are going to be in your library. And then it's just a matter of sharing them to your course. This is one way to share, right? And you would pick a class and you would say, okay, what course is this going to? And I'm going to put it in Accounting 101 if I taught Accounting 101. And I select the term and I select the section. And then I add a new class and call it whatever the video name is. And then I hit share and boom. It's going to be in your course and your students will be able to see it when they click on that link in Blackboard. That simple. Okay, let's move on. I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. Hang on, let me go back. Let me go and bring up my Padlet. All right, Camtasia. Let's just do a little bit of information here. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, Camtasia is really great because it will really give you a polished video. So if that's what you're looking for, this is the tool that you want. We have a few licenses of it in various places at the college. For instance, on this laptop over here in CTLT in Monroe. And yes, we do have it on, I think, a laptop in the CTLT in main campus.
Yes.
And it might be in the recording studio. Can't remember exactly the different places, but we only have a few licenses. That said, you could get your own license, but let's just look at this video here and get a quick overview about Echo.
With Camtasia, making a great looking video is easy, even if you've never made one before. With Camtasia, making a great Camtasia video is easy, create content even if you from your computer screen and webcam, or import content from your camera or mobile device. Animate text, images, and videos to engage your audience. Create rich animations with simple sliders. Camtasia can be used across your organization to create educational training videos, sales presentations, marketing videos, and more. It works across platforms.
We lost you, Joe.
Yep, I know. This is so weird. Where did my Padlet go?
What do you need?
Oh, I lost my Padlet. I'm trying to get
Oh,
back to it.
no.
Here it goes. This is why. Sorry. I see. Okay, it's going to do
Is
the
Kathy
same thing.
Kathy Joe's still here? Kathy, you've used Camtasia for a long time, haven't you?
Yes, yes. In fact,
So maybe you can compare the two. The Camtasia and you do use Echo as well. So,
you know, I find that with Camtasia, in fact, I would use I would upload more from Camtasia if I was doing something that wasn't directly into Echo. And it also closes closed captions fairly easy. I've gotten more used to Echo, and so I think it's almost like a personal preference. Because Echo is already in your course. To me, I would probably go to that first for everyday your lecture capture. If you want to do something, you're going to do this video that you're putting a lot of time into it, and you're going to use it for several semesters, and you may be adding things, then you may want to look at Camtasia But they're both very easy. In fact, I did my learning class and then I uploaded it in Camtasia. So really, it almost is like a personal preference. To me, I see Echo 360 as, okay, here I'm in class. If I'm doing this or whatever, it's quick and easy. And it's all right there. There's a learning curve on either one, but I think they're both pretty easy. I think the interface of Camtasia, when you look at it the first time and you have all like 4 tracks underneath it when you pull up your video,
Right.
can be a little intimidating. But I also called I call the bat line, which is Joe, a couple of times, and you can edit and so forth. So there's a practice on either one of them. Both will use to caption, can use voices from the video, and you can edit captions in both of them. Obviously, it's easier if you have a transcript, but I've done it both ways.
I think the biggest thing that I can tell everybody about this is a full-featured editing tool. So if you have a video that you create anywhere, anyway, or with Camtasia itself, and you really want to edit it, you really need to edit it for some reason, and want to edit it and provide extra things during that editing process, you can. So just as an example, Kathy mentioned the different tracks that you would see. So it actually has multiple tracks so that you can separate the audio piece. You can have multiple videos in there and they would all be on individual tracks. And it allows you to bring in the various tracks of content wherever and whenever you want in the video editing process. And then when you finally, they use the term render it, it will give you a produced video that is like, really cool. I mean, it's like the stuff that commercials are made by, and whatnot. So if that's what you're looking for or needing, then Camtasia-like tools are what you're after. All right. But does anybody have any questions about that before we move on? I just want to say we have a couple more minutes left. Let's at least talk about Screen-Cast-O-Matic. So any questions at this point?
Nothing here.
Okay. And I've stopped sharing. So Sandy, if you want to share anything at this point with Screen-Cast-O-Matic, or would you prefer me drive?
Oh, you can. I mean, that's fine. You can.
Okay.
If you have it up, you put the
All right,
tablet
there it
up,
is.
whatever.
All right. So Screen-Cast-O-Matic is, as I mentioned, a web-based item, and you would create your own account. I forget, Sandy, did you say? Oh, there we go. So,
It's all the way down at the, yeah.
yeah, right here. We have a post here, which when you click on takes you to the website. Hopefully you can see that, and it's free. All right. Obviously, there's some limitations to free, but if you need to do anything more than free, you certainly can work with the possibility of providing something a little bit more. We do have the capability of education stuff. I can tell you we don't have anything that everybody can access at Northampton at this point in time. I don't know whether or not we'll make that available in the future. Okay. We want you to be aware of that. We can do a quick overview of Screen-Cast-O-Matic here, and hopefully this will work a little bit better than the previous one. I think it did.
Yes, this is a good short, down and dirty.
Welcome to Screen-Cast-O-Matic, a fast, free, and easy-to-use screen and webcam recorder used by millions worldwide. Let's get started. Click here to start recording and then launch the recorder. If it's your first time, you will be prompted to download and install the software. Once installed, it's just one click to launch. You can record the screen, webcam, or both. You can record as many videos as you want, up to 15 minutes long. Upgrade to our video editor and get unlimited recording times. Drag or resize the frame to record any part of your screen. Or choose pre-selects such as standard HD sizes and full screen. With the webcam selected, you can drag and resize the webcam frame within the recording area. You can choose your microphone to narrate your video. Now hit record, and all the action inside the frame will be captured. Pause, resume, preview, or restart any of your recordings. Click Done and easily trim the start and end of your video. Then add royalty-free music to excite your audience. It's that simple. You can save your video file to your desktop, host it on Screen-Cast-O-Matic.com, or publish directly to YouTube. When you upgrade, you get more uploading options. After your video is uploaded, get a link to copy or use quick share buttons to easily share to Facebook and Twitter. For those who want more out of Screen-Cast-O-Matic, Video Editor gives access to tools that allow you to zoom, add text and images, animate overlays, blur sections, and much more.
I don't believe those tools are available in the free version. So.
No, it's not. No.
But you can watch this again if you want to. We give you the Padlet, and these resources are going to be available to you. Okay, so there's more information up here in these other posts.
We can't see your screen, Joe.
Oh, what happened? Okay, hang on.
At least I can't. Maybe somebody else can, but I can't. I just see the video screen, not the Padlet screen. And
okay, let me try it again. Sorry. How about now?
okay, no. Yes.
So yeah, you have more items here under tutorials for Screen-Cast-O-Matic. And I think it was pretty obvious that the idea, the concept of Screen-Cast-O-Matic is very similar to how Echo 360 works. You just don't get all those features. You don't get the controlled repository. I don't know if that's the appropriate terminology, but it's obviously housed within our platform rather than being out there on the web. And we're providing that platform for you as well. I think basically what I could say is that other than Echo 360, NCC doesn't have a video platform, that many schools do. So it is where anybody can put videos if they want to, rather than using YouTube in their own account, or rather than using other places that you might have already done so on the web. So that's really your choice.
You can save to Google Drive if you want to.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's kind of the wrap of the three tools. And in summary, I just want to indicate to you the major things that we pointed out in the beginning is that one, your video content is really important to your students, and the way you make it is somewhat important, but what you're teaching them and what you're showing them is what really matters. Okay? Be yourself, do a great job as much as you can, and get better as the semester goes on. Some of you may already have been doing recordings for a while and you have that piece down, but try these different tools and see what you like. Obviously you can't try Camtasia in terms of buying it, but there is a 30-day free trial. So feel free to go to Camtasia's website, and the manufacturer or vendor is called TechSmith, TechSmith for Camtasia. The different tools for different reasons. They're not the only tools, but they're the three that we're endorsing right now. And of course, not only endorsing, but keep in mind, with everybody trying this and trying that out there, there's two concerns that we have in our world. One concern is we cannot support everything. So we try to obviously give you information about the stuff that we can support. And not only that, but if we have, let's just look at this from an example concept. So you have a class of 24 people or less, maybe, depends on how things are going these days, or more if you got a lot of online people. And the person or persons that are in that class probably take some other courses as well. So I'm just going to pull out Tracy and Jackie and Justin. The three of you are teaching three different classes, but you have one student that's in all of your classes. So if Tracy's using Screen-Cast-O-Matic, and if Jackie's using Echo 360, and Justin's using Zoom or something else, we're putting an onus on our students to use more or learn more about than they have to, I think. So if we try to keep it in our world of what we're soliciting here, I think we're a little bit better. By no means do we mean to restrict anybody from trying anything that's out there, but let's keep in mind that it's going to be more information for you to learn and also more information for your student to learn. Any other comments, Sandy?
Nope.
Any other thoughts from anybody? Boy, this thing is not reacting very well for me. I can't stop. I'm trying to stop the share and I cannot. Just seem to be frozen. There.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it took a while. All right.
Okay, it is 11
o'clock.
Yes.
All right, and
We
do have to
will
move
turn
on,
into a
but
pumpkin.
Feel free to email Sandy or I if you have some follow-up questions. We're also going to email you because we want to hear your feedback and provide some other resources. And we hope that you have a great day and a good continuation of week 1 for most of you, I assume. Maybe some of you started last week, and a great semester. So thanks for joining us and take care.
Thank you, Joe and Sandy.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Yeah. And a great
It's our
holiday.
only one for a while.
That's right.
Right?
Our only big
Our
one
only
for a while.
holiday for a while.